So here's the bathroom floor as I did it about 10 months ago now, and as you can see it's held up really well. No deterioration in the tiles themselves, no real staining. Obviously there has been marks in the grout, but what I found best to use actually just to keep on top of it is just some toothpaste. Obviously I use Linda's toothbrush, and just give it a scrub all the way around here every so often where marks and things have happened, and yeah, it's kept it pretty white. Look, certainly no discoloration in this area compared to, say, over here. So yeah, that's the situation now. The longevity has been fine, it's proven itself. So now just to finish off, or finally finish off these back areas here. Just to show you some of the designs on the pottery before I cut them into squares, because some of it won't be savable. So some of you might like to see the detail. Beautiful, beautiful different designs. Here is the clogs, the boots of a Dutch person standing by a chair or a table. I love this design. And this Japanese piece was actually also found in a dump site in England by the Northern Mudlarks. It was the beginning of their last video. This is straw flower and traditional willow pattern. So there we go. Just some of the beautiful designs that we found recently. Right everyone, hat on, earbuds in, glasses on, gloves on, cup of tea. Let's get started. Cheers. Cut this one into strips. Each strip will have a very slight curve. Sometimes it's possible to save even the strangest shaped piece, as long as there's some way of getting some flat sections. So you can see on profile here that this is curving this way, but you can see where I just about made a start there. So if we split that in the middle, and we should be able to get a flat section out of here. I'm going to try and save this little bluebell, this little flower here, keep this design as much as possible. Rather than square this piece, I'll keep it as a triangle. These can be useful around the pipes, the back of the pipes, things like that, and mated up to another triangle piece. You can create some kind of squareness in the tiles. So not always square pieces. Sometimes, if necessary, we'll keep a triangle. So this is a difficult piece, part of a very curved little mini saucer. There is a flat profile in the centre, but not much of it. Some lovely detail on this one. It's a Japanese, I think, or possibly Chinese scene. So it's just how best to cut it to save as much as possible. So after the curvy little saucer, we've created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little squares and a little piece that probably scrap. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but a couple of nice ones there, and these we'll use for any sort of infills, any sort of edges that need sort of that little bit of extra. So they will come in handy. On to the next. Okay, so this one is the one I'm going to cut next. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer to the camera. Hopefully you can see the beautiful design on there. Now it's curved, but I want to try and save as much of that design as is possible. So we'll do it bit by bit. So here we go again. Let's start off by taking down these edges here and here. Okay, so we're at that stage now, but again it's still a little bit too curved a profile for the floor, only a bit. I had no choice but to go down here because this was already a raggy edge. You can just about see the staining on the corner. So what I'm going to try and do now is just to balance this out by taking this down the same side there to give some symmetry. So that's where we're at now. I was tickling the edge there a little bit just to try and get rid of some of this rust staining out of it. But I think that will be a reasonable profile. It's not overly curved on the floor. I've done worse, so we'll keep that lovely design for on the floor. And what we're going to try and do now is to save this emblem from this hotel plate. The rest of it's just plain white pretty much, so it's not that interesting, but we can definitely try and save this. Right, so here we are. After some considerable time of cutting all the shards up, I've got a tub here of squares and a few extra ones on the paper towel just drying. So there ought to be enough with what I've made so far to finish the bathroom floor. So the next stage is going to be to arrange these into grid patterns before I add them to the mould thing, the set thing that I made. And yeah, we're going to be almost there then. Okay, so I've laid out the sellotape strips like I did before. I've marked on here, if you can see there, down, and then across the bottom edge of the sellotape. I don't need to mark the square that I need, the tile square that size that I need. People in previous comments had mentioned using contact paper and some other things, but I know this works for me. Done it before. This is how the rest of the bathroom was done. And yeah, it's just more convenient just to use the things I've already got. So as I say, and thanks for the comments, thanks for the advice, but I know this system does work. There we are. The first selected tiles are stuck to the sellotape. Incidentally, I forgot to mention to anyone who hasn't watched my videos before, this sellotape is upside down, so the sticky side is upwards. So I've popped all the shards on the sellotape. I know some of them have got some rust on the back, but it doesn't matter. The fronts are clean, and they have been scrubbed and washed and everything. This is just staining that I can't get out, and I don't really need to get out. I did that on the previous tiles on the bathroom floor, and there's no sort of worries about the rust leaching through into the grout or anything, because that just hasn't happened in nearly a year now. So I'll flip this over, and then you can see, if I'll do it off camera and then I'll come back to you. Then you can see what the layout's going to be like. There we are. That's the other side. The side we're going to see all the nice individual pieces. And I've got the Bertha word there, which has come from the plate that we found at the dump site. So all I've got to do now is transfer that to the mould, to the box, and add the tile cement. And this is tile number 2, or rather this is sellotape sheets number 2, ready for adding the squares to it. I'm going to make them both together, and then I know that I've got enough squares to do the job. So as I said before, this is broad sellotape, upside down, so the sticky side is upwards, and then all the individual tiles stick to that face down. And when we flip it round, you've got the mosaic pattern on the other side, and everything's nice and level. So so any imperfections or any differences in the tile thicknesses are in this side where the cement's going to cover it, and they're not on the other side, all lumpy bumpy under your feet. So here's the tile mould or box that I used before, and the other piece which is going to fit into there. Incidentally, the tile's not perfectly square. It measures, because the bathroom walls aren't perfectly square, so this one's sort of 16.5 centimetres versus just short of 16 centimetres. So when I screw this into here, it will be at a slight angle. I'm not going to go through the whole process again because it's already on my previous videos twice, and if you've not seen the videos before, please go back and see the earlier ones. Otherwise it'll get boring for the people who've already seen those. So we'll assemble all this mix the tile cement and add it to the box, and then we'll see what it's like when it's all dried. There we are. The box is all screwed up and the tiles are in there, and then I've put the layer of tile cement on top. These little lumps here are just air bubbles. I'll just pop them in a moment. So I'll leave that to set for, well, the rest of the day. I'm away for the rest of the day today, so when I get back this evening, which is several hours time, that should be, I'll leave it in a warm place and that should be set nice and hard. So then we'll do the unveil and see what it looks like. Okay, so this has actually had 24 hours to dry now. When I made these before on the previous videos, it was in the summertime, and or it was in the warmer weather, and putting them outside in the direct sunshine on a nice warm day dried the tile cement a lot quicker than in room temperature. So this one is not what I would describe as rock hard. I'm going to risk taking it out of the mould because once it's out of the box, it can carry on drying. I'm not going to set it onto the floor straight away. So yeah, as long as it hasn't stuck to the edges and it doesn't cause it to, big chunks to come out, we should be okay. It's a risk I'm kind of calculated risk I'm prepared to take. I did grease the edges of the box first, so hopefully it should release fairly easily. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my electric electric screwdriver, and release the sides and the bottom as well. The bottom, actually, I think what I'll do, I'll just try and flip this over and keep this on screen. The bottom, I will use my little screwdriver for this. So we'll take these off here. Okay, so now you'll get to see the finished tile pattern as I do. There we go. So that's okay, no bad letching underneath the tiles, and they're all nice and smooth and flat. So now what I've got to do is release it from the mould. Easiest thing to do there is, if you can see there, is just to remove these screws here and these screws here. Then this comes away, that will open out slightly and we can take the tile out. So let's turn this around here and make sure you can still see me. And we'll take this electric drill on rewind, on reverse, which is this way. To the drill, that was not the best in there, so I'll just finish it off with the screwdriver, and then let's turn this around, although it's already released because, there we go, didn't need any more, it's already released because of the use of Vaseline around the edges. These tiny little delicate bits are literally just wafer thin residue from the edge, but I'll be careful with it, as I say, it's not completely set, but there we go, one tile. When it's gone rock hard, I will take away the sellotape from the top, and then we can obviously go over it with a bit of grout and fill in all those gaps, because it doesn't look as pretty here now as it will do when the grout lines are all done. But yeah, there we go. As before, one nice tile uniform thickness that will go in that back corner of the bathroom with the bertha on it. So back with the box, and what I need to do now is make adjustments to the positioning of this piece. This is the side piece, so that I can add the next set of tiles in, which I'll show you. So I'll just remove this and I'll show you the next set of tiles. So these were on the brown piece of wood, and I've taken them off there now. So that's what they look like from the back. Yeah, unfortunately we do have to sacrifice some of the detail because some pieces of pottery are double-sided. But if I turn this over, position that, just move these bits there, so you get the idea of how that one's going to look. So we're going to add this to that box once I've made some adjustments to the size of the box. It's actually a couple of days later because I've been busy with work. So we've got the tile that we did before with the sellotape to remove, and then the one underneath is the second one, which we're going to get out of the box. So let's do the unveil of the one with the sellotape on first. Obviously it isn't going to make much difference because you can see through the sellotape, but okay, you can see already a little bit of kind of bleeding through here, but that can be filed away, and then the whole thing can be regrouted. A little bit of a reluctant sellotape here, got stuck underneath the edge of the side part. But you get the idea of what that one's going to look like. There's one more little piece of sellotape there, but yeah, so that just needs now this picking out, and then all these gaps grouting up. So that's that one. And now we'll move on to the opening of this box. So I've got my electric screwdriver. We'll flip this over, start with the base. I'll put this into fast forward because it's not very interesting and it's a bit of a weird noise, but let's go. Okay, let's see. Ta-da! So that's pattern there. Now we'll just try and release this side here. I'll put my hand underneath so that it doesn't drop out. And we'll unscrew this side screw here. And this one. Yeah, I'll take that off and pop the sides. This is just the crumbly bit. There we go. And a successful release. So this is just the crumbly bits on the edge. So there we go. A little bit of bleeding down that side, but that can be again can be taken off. And actually, it's probably on the outside of the sellotape, that piece. But again, because this has been drying for a few days since I last did this, I don't need to worry about the sellotape doing any sort of harm, pulling any tiles off, because it's definitely set. So let's do the whole thing. He says, ugh. Okay, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll peel the sellotape off and then I'll show you. There we are, sellotape removed. It was quite a tricky one, that one. The sellotape had really got itself embedded under the edges of the box, but I've got it all off now. So there we go. That's turn it that way around. That's that one. Like I said, they always look a bit scruffy when you first remove them, but this can all be tidied up, and when it's grouted, it'll be all smooth and nice. The main thing is that this surface here, if you can see on profile there, is nice and flat. There's nothing that you're going to feel with your feet when you walk on this because of the way that I do it. So a couple of nice designs there. So we've got the little bit of what would have said Holland there, and if I bring that up to the camera, you can see this piece here, which would have been the hotel's logo, and so that's not black. It's not blue and white, but it is from the base of a blue and white. The Maastricht typical sort of Dutch pottery symbol, and then this one's quite a nice one here, with the sort of the ribbon and the circular motif. But they're all pretty. They're all nice. They're all different. Okay, so that's the main two final tiles, and then the rest is just going to be bits and pieces. Right, so a quick look at these tiles before they get stuck down on the bathroom floor. Unfortunately, they're going to be around the back of the toilet, so they're not going to be seen very well, but that's just the nature of needing a floor that's covered in little tiles, that some of them aren't going to be seen. So a quick look at these for you. There is obviously a third one which I didn't show you before. That's one that I've decided to make with the back of the profile of the toilet on it. So yeah, let's have a little look at these. So there we go. Like I said, some beautiful little patterns. Everything needs to be grouted yet. All I've done is just to scrape out the excess overflow from the manufacturing, or what I would describe as manufacturing process. This all needs grouting and filling in when it's on the floor. But yeah, just wanted to show you those those beautiful little pieces of pottery. So here's the space that we've yet to tile. So this is where those pieces are going to go, and also down the edges as well. So the edge of the between these tiles and this is a gap, so that needs doing on both sides. Now I'm not going to bother filming it because it's not very interesting and there's not enough room for me and the camera in here. So I'll come back to you at the end when we've got these all set down. This is where we've got to now. The tiles at the back of the toilet are all set in place. There's a small space there I need to fill. And moving around the other side, again they're all set in position. Just again another little bit at the back of the toilet to tidy up. Done all the side ones, so they're all bonded in position. And now we're going to move on to this other side down here. Little gap down the side there, and that's why these little ones are on a piece of toilet tissue, because it's like camouflage if you don't use something to differentiate between the ones that are set and ones that aren't. So yeah, just got to finish that off and then it'll be all done then. There we are, it is finished. A labour of love that has lasted almost a year and taken around 2,000 pieces of individual broken pottery shards found during many mudlarks over the last 18 months. I'd like to thank Tom Burley for his support on this project, and for everybody who has left fantastic, kind comments in the comments section below. Really do appreciate it. I hope you like my finished result, and there'll be more blue and white projects to come in the near future. Thanks again.